What is happening in Benue is very sad. Within a space of 61 days, 270 people were killed in Benue across 10 local government areas, prompting the Chief of Army Staff to go to Benue to relocate there with some of his officials. He addressed the troops. He went round. That was in the first week of June. It is most unfortunate that the Chief of Army Staff, General Olukoyede, had hardly left the place and trouble started again. Last week, Friday, I think, 25 persons were killed in Makurdi local government area. By Sunday, 100 persons have been killed, displaced, exterminated in Yelwata, in Guma local government area. The situation in Benue, if you cost it, 270 people killed, another 125 persons killed. You know, what they have in Benue State is a complete state of anarchy. And I think that the Nigerian government has a responsibility to ensure peace, not just in Benue, but in all parts of this country. After all, the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 14, sub 2 thereof, says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the responsibility of government. Shall. It's not a matter of opinion. Shall. It is obligatory. The same Constitution talks about the right to human dignity. The same Constitution talks about right to life. Now in Benue State, people have been denied all these rights, whether under Chapter 2 or Chapter 4 of the Constitution. So it's a matter of urgency, emergency. I'm not saying they should go there and declare state of emergency. I'm just saying that this is an issue of urgent national importance. We have had Father Hyacinth Talia, the governor, on this program before. He's as helpless as anybody. The president is saying Aliyah should go and organize meetings. They've been organizing meetings on conflicts on the plateau and in that region for over decades, for over 3 decades. We have not been able to find a solution to it. So the Nigerian government has a responsibility to address this problem, whatever it takes. And the Pope has intervened. The Pope prayed for us. Well, we thank the Pope. Northern Christian Association of Nigeria is also saying that the government must act. Indeed, the killings in the Benue must stop. And the buck stops at the desk of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
It is concerning to see some of the statements that almost seem to create a degree of distance between the commander-in-chief of the defense forces and the governor of the state. And this time that we feel that there should be a unified front. This is not a time for us to debate about whether this is the federal responsibility or whether this is a state or a governor's responsibility. This is a time for urgent action. Now, when you look at the international headlines, it's devastating to read about it. And it's unfortunate that it often takes international headlines for us to be shocked into some type of urgent action. Now, it's unfortunate, as Dr. Abati had already explained, that the Chief of Army Staff had relocated to Benue State just not even up to 2 weeks ago. The reports from his time there showed that he was not happy with what he saw, and he had called for some sort of structural changes as well as redeployments as well. So the question is, had those gone into effect yet, or is this a strategy that is still yet to be rolled out? But in the meantime, unfortunately, these evil and wicked people don't wait for the army to re-strategize. They don't wait for us to be prepared. They are on the offensive. What do we have happening in Benue State? We now have a complex layer of various issues. Something that started as a herder-farmer crisis has now gone into an issue that embroils local militia. It has now gone into rural banditry and criminality. There are so many different types of criminal activities happening at one time that the issue has become so complex. In 2018, the government had introduced the Operation World Stroke. Now, this operation involved multiple agencies to try and tackle the issue, and it did, to a degree, reduce some of the attacks that we had seen. But what were some of the issues? Some of the issues that led to us seeing some sort of limited result in the outcome of this operation is the fact that When people are arrested, we are not seeing efficient prosecution of suspects. We're not seeing efficient rehabilitation of those who have been displaced by this crisis. We're not seeing continued, sustainable, steady enforcement once the military operation is over. So it's one thing for us to treat the symptoms. There are killings now, and the army will move in for the moment. That's treating the symptoms. But what are the systematic issues that are underlying that need to be addressed so that there can be a sustainable solution to this issue? We know that at the very core of this is issues surrounding climate change. We know that at the very core of this is issue of a fight over resources. Because it's only when you have a fight over resources, a fight over land, a fight over the means of production, that you now have it going from being an ethnic conflict to even being a criminal conflict. Because people are poor, and those evil agents amongst the people will resort to criminality. There was a senior advocate of Nigeria who had written to the president a couple of weeks ago, Sebastian Hon. Now, while I don't agree with him because he was calling for a state of emergency, what was insightful in his letter is that he seemed to have predicted what we just saw happen this weekend, because he said some traditional rulers had been calling for the removal of certain groups of people from certain lands, and he had sounded the alarm that there are retaliatory attacks that are loading very soon. So some people say that the Chief of Army Staff had moved into Benue State in response to this alarm that was sounded by the senior advocate of Nigeria. But unfortunately, he's saying that it seems that the strategies at the moment are disjointed and a little bit confusing. There's another operation at play as well called the Operation Planning CADA. And the SAN was saying that all these different operations, and we're not sure who is being targeted and what is being targeted, and we're not feeling the impact of it. So in all of this, I think the real call is for us not to play the blame game, not to see this distance between the federal and the state. It needs to be one unified body that now comes together to see how we can provide succor and respite for the people of Benue State urgently and without further escalation and without further loss to life. Again, we do commiserate with the people of Benue State, and we pray that the killings are brought to an end immediately.